In today's episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I'm going to sit down with Mick McArt to find out all about his game, the Game Room's Throne board game that's on Kickstarter. It seems like it's a hoot. Then, let's see what we're giving away over at thegiveawaygeek.com. But first, a message about our podcast sponsorship going on now. This more clearer, crisper Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being brought to you by all of our Season 3 Kickstarter campaign backers. We salute you. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly being powered by one of our new long-term sponsors, Arcane Wonders, who is launching their Kickstarter for Foundations of Rome on January 14th. It's meticulously designed. Foundations of Rome is an intuitive city builder for 2 to 4 players, bolstered by over 100 wonderfully detailed miniatures. So don't miss out on this beauty of a game. Back it as soon as it launches and tell them Game Relief sent you in the comments on their Kickstarter page. More can be found in our link via the show notes or by going to foundationsofrome.com. Now on with the interview. Welcome to Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf. Today we've got a special treat for you. You've probably played a game or two where you've been in a fantasy world, but have you ever played a game or two where you've been taking care of the plumbing in the said fantasy world? Well, we're gonna fix that problem with today's game. We have the creator mastermind from that created the Game Room's Throne board game joining us today. Is that right, Mick? Is that how you fall in line with the Game Room's Throne board game?
Yep, that's exactly correct. You play a fantasy plumber. There are one of four fantasy plumbers, and you have a job to do. It's a dirty job, but you got to clear out the plumbing of a local game store in this fantasy realm I've created.
Awesome. Now, before we jump into that, let's rewind a little bit, if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games, Mick?
Well, it started back. I'm 50 years old right now, so but the first game I ever played, believe it or not, was a game called Dwarf Mountain, and that was back in it was made by Grenadier. They made all the figures. I remember being 7 years old, and my uncle he introduced me to it, and I played a dwarf going up this mountain fighting a dragon, and that just swept me away. I was like, this is amazing. So, since then I've been playing, board games periodically my whole life. There's big patches where life gets in the way, college and all the other good stuff. But yeah, I've been playing that. That's the first one that got me into it, and of course Dungeons and Dragons. So that's basically where I get the inspiration for a lot of my games is your good old fashioned Dungeons and Dragons themed environment.
Yeah, so you talked about wanting to get inspiration and whatnot. Was there a lot of restroom or bathroom scenes in you guys' Dungeons and Dragons, or how did that work out?
Well, not really. I mean, of course, being boys, you kind of, and I'm from an English Irish background, so we kind of like the toilet humor a little bit. But it was there, but not overwhelming. I try not, like with this new game, I try not to bash people over the head with it. It is themed that way, but it doesn't get grody. So yeah, it's there. I like that humor, naming a character Commodus, stuff like that, are you privy to that information? I like to do the wordplay and stuff like that. So it's got the humor, but I don't like to get too gross with it.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's still family friendly, is it not?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's very family friendly. I've tested the game out with the older folks and younger folks, and everybody gets a big laugh out of it. I it, just so people know, I'm a comedy writer. That's one of my things that I do. I write a comedy fantasy series called The Journal of an Outlaw, and it's basically a rogue character who travels around the unremembered realms, which is a takeoff of the Forgotten Realms. It's a nice little parody, and Luke Gygax reads it. So I mean, it's pretty much approved by the Gygaxes. So yeah, it's a fun little series. I travel all around my area, all over my state, other states, doing book signings, and that's what led me to getting into game design, because I started playing all these games with my friends. There's a gentleman on Kickstarter I met, Daryl Bodner, and he created Dragon Dice, and I got to know him a little bit, and he, through talking to him, it inspired me to start building my own games. Because I've always loved them, and I thought, wow, with Kickstarter, I could get my idea funded, continue with this, and then move forward. And I just love Kickstarter, and how it's made opportunities possible for somebody like me who's an independent, and given me a chance to get out there. And one of the things that's neat is in my book signing travels, I sell my games, and it's like I'm my own little distributor, and my games actually do very well on the road, which took me by surprise. My books do well, and I'd never expected my games to sell as much as they do, and they do, and I get a lot of positive feedback, so it's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's good to hear. So you talk about other games. What other games have you created thus far, Mick?
Well, the when I was experimenting with my first game, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you made D&D more playable to the older generation, or people who weren't that interested in it. So I was looking at and me and my wife, we were playing Yahtzee one night, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could use the polyhedral dice instead of the six-siders for Yahtzee? Then I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I should mix Dungeons and Dragons with Yahtzee. So what I did is I created this game called the Forbidden Treasure of Mifton Mad. Mifton Mad is one of the cities in my books, in my Journal of an Outlaw series. And so what happens is you play a rogue who's trying to open a treasure chest. There's 10 locks on the treasure chest, and to open each lock, you roll the dice. If you get the correct combo, you unlock the lock. If you miss it, the lock explodes and you take hit point damage. So when you play, you actually tear off your sheet, name your rogue character. You can be killed off. You can you can gain skills. You can get healing potions, and it's all wrapped around a Yahtzee theme, and it makes it very easy to teach people who aren't really into Dungeons and Dragons. But the people who play games like that, role playing games, or your fantasy themed board games, they like it, because it's like, hey, we got it out, bang bang bang, we knocked out a few games while we waited for a buddy to show up, and yeah, it was very popular, and uh, once I got funded with that and Kickstarter, and had it made, I was totally hooked. I said, I got to make me some more games, because this was a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, sounds like it. And so you just did that just recently with the Game Room's Throne. What can you tell us about this great game?
Well, the one of the things about the in my book series is I have so many colorful and wonderful characters, and one of my stories is wrapped. I talked to the guys from the Dice Tower podcast, and I said, hey, Eric Summer and Tom Vassell. I said, hey, do you mind if I have you guys be characters in my books? And they were like, oh man, that's really great. So they're characters in my books. They own the Dice Tower Tavern, and my characters go in there because they play games inside the book. And I was writing a story once, and it was about how a giant half ogre comes in. They're all playing their games. The half ogre's like, "Excuse me, I need to use the bathroom." So he goes and destroys the bathroom pretty much. Comes back out, with a quick wink and a stroll out the door. It's like, okay. And when I was writing the end of that story of the what happens, and I was like, man, this. I think I want to make this a game. I think this would be really cool. Now, what would happen if this ogre came in and did that while the vassal, the fighter, who's Tom Vassal's character, I said he'd call the local plumber, and so, well, wait a minute, what if it was four plumbers and each player of the game got to play one of the four, and they'd be fun for, or not fun, they'd be really fun characters that have their own distinct personalities. So then I thought, okay, so they go in, they're going to plunge these toilets that the ogre filled up. So it's kind of a race. So, and I got that concept in my head, but then I thought, well, okay, I'm going to have to build. Um, Basically, each character gets their own regular commode. So the character comes in, they've got to unclog their regular commode because the ogre was so nasty that he filled up the giant one that's made for his size, and it backed up all the others. So the four plumbers are racing by plumbing their separate commodes, and when they get done with that one, they jump over to the game room's throne, which is the giant commode, and whoever gets rid of that mess becomes the winner and gets the contract to be the official plumber for the Dice Tower Tavern.
Okay, awesome. So, per se, man, you were to sit down to play it, what's my turn going to look like, or what's a game look like a turn consist of?
Well, each player will get a commode clog tracker. And if you look at the Kickstarter page, you'll see a picture of it that's got 210 spaces. So you roll your 20-sided dice, and you get these little brown clog bricks. I call them clog bricks so it isn't, you don't want to say a big entirely poo. So it's like, okay, you move your clog brick, you roll your 20-sided dice, move your clog brick down, the number, whatever it is. Let's say you rolled a 20, you move 20 spaces. And the thing that makes it unique on your turn is that you get what's called the commode roll and action chart. So every number that you roll has an action assigned to it. So I rolled the 20. That one's called plunge worthy. And if you rolled the 20, you'd move your 20, then you'd go to your action chart and go, okay, plungeworthy says that I need to add 5 plug up points to an opposing player. Now, what plug up points are, and this is what makes the game interesting and a lot of fun, because you get, with the game comes this little mini plunger. I'm having them molded and painted, and they look really cool. But you get the possibility of 10 plug up points. So if I'm playing against you and I go, okay, I give you 5 plug up points, you move your plunger up the chart, and that chart is on Kickstarter too. You can see that. So you move it up to the number 5 spot. Okay. Now you're backed up 5 extra. So even though you're starting out on number 210 and you're going descending number, let's say you pick up the dice, you roll on your turn and you roll a 15. Well, first you have to subtract your 5 from the plug up points because my plumber kind of, messed you up. So you're stuck having to clear out 5. Then you can move the remaining 10 down the commode board. Yeah, so what it does is some people will get ahead and the rest of the people will kind of jump on them and assign them their plug up points. It's like, oh, you're not getting ahead of me. So it's kind of everybody piles on the winner.
Okay, and do each of the plumbers have their own asymmetrical traits or powers?
Oh yeah, yeah. Each plumber has what's called an immunity, and they also have a special number. Um, one of the most popular characters in the game so far. His name is Rim Gripper. He's an undead plumber, and he looks like death, but he carries a giant plunger. And he has his, well, let's see, his special number is 13. and every time anybody rolls a 13, uh, everybody gets 2 plug up points except for the rim gripper.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah, and then he's immune to number 9, which is called caught in a pinch. So if somebody rolls a 9, it says, let's say I'm rolling it, it says absorb 1 plug up point from each opposing plumber. So it would have been a bad roll for anybody else, but rim gripper is immune to it. So he could just move his 9 and ignore the bad side effects.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds like a pretty fun game. And is it whoever gets down from the 210 to the 0, or how do you determine a winner?
Well, what happens is when you get down to the 0, it's a clog-free spot. Let's say you're on number 2, you rolled your dice and you got a 6. Well, that ends your turn because the minute you land on that clog-free space, turns over. You take your action, but you end your turn. And then on your next turn, you go to the other board, which is the Game Room's Throne clog tracker, which is on the Kickstarter page, and that's the giant toilet. And it has less numbers, but on this board, you roll a 4-sided dice to move down it, so it's a lot slower. And one of the fun aspects of the game is that you're on the final stretch. There's 25 numbers, so you start on number 25 on your next turn. You roll your 4-sider, you start moving down, and it gets a little bit harder because your plug up points can really mess you up there, and it gives the players still on the regular commode a chance to catch up to you.
Okay, so you can be more than one person can be on the Game Room's Throne clog tracker as well.
Yes. See, in the story inside the Game Room's Throne has 4 pipes running into it. And your job as a plumber is to clear out one of the pipes leading into that Game Room's Throne. When yours clears out, everybody's clears out.
Okay, awesome. And so I could get it past one and then try to pass somebody else. It sounds pretty cool, and I like to take that element of it. It sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's got a very big screw your neighbor feel to it. It's like everybody just piles high on whoever they think has the best chance of winning. And any dice roll can change everything. And the amount of laughter around the table is how I gauge the success of my games. And this is my 4th game on Kickstarter, and this one has generated the most laughs. It's the most high fives that I've seen. So that I think that's a good sign.
Well, there you go. And this isn't the first time you've had it on Kickstarter. Can we ask what you've changed since the last time you were on Kickstarter with it?
Yeah, I what I did is when I started it, I started the first one in December, and my wife warned me against that. She says, people are doing Christmas, and I said, no, I got to get this out there because I was so excited about it, And then it turns out that I wasn't getting the traffic that I thought, and I saw other games like you like right now you see Return to Dark Tower, and it just off the charts. And sometimes I forget I'm a little guy, so it's like, oh yeah, I don't have the recognition of that big of a project. I mean, they got a team of 16, 20 people going to town on that game. My games are just me in my basement trying to make things happen. So one of the things I thought was like, well, when I stopped it, I was like, I got to stop this. I got to lower the price because I thought that'd generate more interest. Um, and by lowering the price, what I'm doing is I'm basically eating a lot of the cost. Because I told my wife, I said, you know what, I'll just go out, get a loan for some of this money because it's important for me to get the seed to get this out there. And if it costs me some, that's fine because after I sell them, at my shows, I know I'll be able to get the money to replace it all. Because what I did over the last year, this game's been being built over the last year, and I did about 30 book signings, at the shows. I do a lot of art festivals and Renaissance festivals, and I took the game with me. And while I sold my other games, people were excited by those. But I had this game sitting out, and people would see the plungers, they'd see the boards, and they were like, "This is beautiful. This is a really cool game." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but it's going to cost me a lot more than I usually spend on a game, because usually I do smaller games." And I said, "I really think this is going to make it." And from the response from people, I mean, it was the best response I've ever gotten from the crowds that I talked to. I said, "Okay, this is going to be the one." So I was very confident in December that it would just go off the charts, just because of the characters, the humor, um, how the response was at playtesting, and so I was very, very confident. And then my first day didn't take off that well, and I was like, "I can't believe it," you know. So I figured, well, I gotta take another stab at this and change some things around.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not really a science to it, but it seems like a lot of people stay on Kickstarter, like regular Kickstarter backers or whatnot, and then it's hard to get that new crowd to come on. They don't understand fully what Kickstarter is or whatnot.
Right, right. And one of the advantages I have is, as an author is, I've got a very good list of people who, I put out a book, I send out an email, here's my new book, boom, I start getting immediate responses, which is a lot of fun. Um, but I think launching this before Christmas kind of hurt me a little bit. So I don't know if it's that. I really don't. I mean, who knows? But so I relaunched it. I got a better response. So hopefully, with exposure with like this interview, that'll help.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I really want to see this come to fruition. I know we backed it in our home, and it looks like a pretty fun game. And I really love the comedy element as well as the art. It looks like a pretty fun game. And just talking to you about it. And word on the street is you're actually doing a giveaway with us over at the giveawaygeek.com. What can somebody or how many people can win, and what can they win, Mick?
Well, right now, they can win a copy of the game. Two lucky winners, and what I'll do is I will also, uh, when they win the game, I will. When the game comes, I'll autograph it. I'll open it up, autograph it, re-shrink wrap it. And one of the things that I'd like to do is put them actually inside the game as kind of a thank you. So, and actually, I think anybody who pledges from this giveaway, I will put them inside the game, in like in the back page as a special thank you, as so their names will actually be in the game, no matter if they win or not.
Oh, anybody who enters?
Yeah, anybody.
Okay, well there you go. Now you know how you can get into an awesome new game, the Game Room's Throne board game. You heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, how you can get into the game.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun for people, and
That's awesome.
I think if they just go to the Kickstarter, watch the video, read the Kickstarter there, I think they're gonna get a big laugh. I think they're gonna enjoy the characters. Some of these characters are just like off the charts. The first one I thought of was the dwarf MT Chamber Pot.
What can you tell about what can you tell us about him?
Oh, well, I got a little description of him. MT Chamberpot. He's a high society dwarf seeking redemption after a bathroom mishap caused a tidal wave at the Palace of Gaspenfall. The royal family had a king-size problem in their privy, and MT was called to remedy the situation. Due to a mishap of gastronomical proportions, the dwarf unintentionally got some dirt on the king. Once members of the royal court smelled the foulness of the situation, they, along with the royals, turned their nose up at him. MT has been looking to redeem himself ever since.
And hopefully unclogging the chamber pot will help.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Awesome. And is there any kind of, besides what's in the game, like the brief character descriptions and the object of the game, is there any other stories to go along with this?
Yeah, the if you check out the site, you'll see that there's a storybook. And remember in the beginning of the interview when I told you I was writing a story, and that's where the game idea came from? Well, after tweaking it a little bit, you will actually get the story that would have went in my book. I kept it out of my book. So this story that comes in the game gives you the story of the Game Room's Throne, and it's exclusive to this game alone. You cannot get the story in my books. So if I got fans out there who are just want to are completists and they want to have every story I've written, yeah, you got to get the game.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Awesome. Yeah, and like I love the characters. The gameplay sounds pretty cool, and the art's amazing. We got to make this game become a reality. Plus, there was a golden plunger if we can get past the funding goal into one of the stretch goals.
Yeah, yeah, the golden plunger is really cool. It's actually larger than the normal plunger that's in the game, and it gives you bragging rights.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Whoever wins gets it.
And also, I just added this into this new updated Kickstarter was the STL file for the Rim Gripper character. So if the game is successful, everybody will get the STL file for the Rim Gripper, which is a 30 millimeter tall figurine that they can print on their 3D printer. So they can get that, and everybody will get a copy of that. I'll email that to them if they don't have a 3D printer. But if they're at a certain level and they back me at a certain level and the game's successful, I will actually be printing the 3D miniatures of the Rim Gripper that they can have with their game, and that's going to be part of my stretch goals.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So we gotta help make this become a reality. And like you said, even if they don't necessarily back the game, but they just enter the giveaway, their name will be in the book. You said.
Yeah,
Awesome, most definitely. But yeah, so go and two lucky people can win the game. Plus, it's not a very high buy-in if they like what they've heard or they like what they see on the Kickstarter page. What it's only $15 or whatnot.
yeah, it's $15, and for most places in the U.S., because I can only ship it in the U.S. because um, the fees are too much for everywhere else. But right now it's U.S. only for the giveaway. It's $15, and for most places that I talked to the post office, and they said it'd be around $8 to send the game. So it's 15 plus 8.
Okay, awesome. And it looks like there's if they still want to get the game but can't necessarily do the shipping or whatnot, there's a what anywhere in the world they can do the print and play version, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. I put the print and play in there for foreign countries and things like that. But for those who want to get a copy of the game and they're from a foreign country, if they write me, I will find out the price it will be to ship to them. And I did that on my last or not my last giveaway, my last game that I did, and I calculated with a lot of people because I did a thing called the Naughty Dice Jail, where it was a resin molded dice jail, and people from all over the world wanted one. So I went down to the post office and I did, if somebody writes me and asks, I will put that shipping amount onto the Kickstarter.
Okay.
So let's say somebody from Germany says, "Hey, I want one too," and I find out it's $50 to send it to Germany. Well, I'll put that on the Kickstarter so everybody from Germany can order it then.
Okay, there you go. I guess all you have to do is ask, and it shall be granted. So that's awesome. I imagine people will appreciate that. So that's pretty cool. So now, when it comes to the Game Room's Throne board game, what makes your game pop is when my audience should go check out, and if they like what they see, back it today, Mick.
Yeah, I just think that if they want to have a good, fun game that's not too serious, but not kiddish either. It's not so silly that you're like, oh, I've got adults who want to play this over and over just because it's so fun and so funny. Um, and the components are super cool. And I think that the thing that makes it stand out most is, of course, the humor. I love a good humorous game. I love to smile, and I just love these little brown square cubes, the the clog bricks. When you're pushing them around the board, it's so fun. I think people really dig it.
Cool, yeah, and I like the story aspect. But yeah, everything about it from scrolling through the Kickstarter page. I'm really hoping that it makes it to reality. It just looks like a really fun game.
Yeah, I now if it doesn't make it, well then I've been talking to my wife about funding it myself, which will require a bank loan, but I am so confident that this game will be a blast that I'm going to do whatever I can to get it out there, but it would become out a lot faster if I had the support on Kickstarter to get it out, because it might take me a whole nother year before I can get this funded by myself. Because it's a pretty penny.
Yeah, well, let's hope if you're listening, let's make this a reality. Even if you're just back for $1, that can go a long way. As everybody who follows you will be able to see that, or like you said, just enter in the giveaway. That helps people find out about it. Plus, your name will go down in history.
Yeah, you'll be part of the unremembered realms.
There you go, awesome. And we don't want to keep you all night, Mick. So mine is coming to your hometown to stalk you. How can people go about keeping up with you and everything you're doing in your fantasy worlds and whatnot?
Well, the best place to reach me is at theunrememberedrealms.com.
Okay, awesome.
And they can get me there. They can go on to facebook.com / Mick McArt. That's MickMcart. And I'm usually posting stuff there, or they can go to facebook.com / Journal of an Outlaw. And there they can read more about my books and my other games. In the end, though, the unrememberedrealms.com is probably where you'll see the most of my stuff. I'm always posting updates, my tour schedule. So if they're locals from Michigan or Ohio, or I go to Indiana, sometimes Wisconsin, doing my book signings, they can get a chance to meet me, to actually hold the prototype, because I've got the prototype sitting right next to me of the game. And maybe get a chance to play with it a little bit and ask me questions. I've got 2 other games in development, but so I'm going to try to be showing them off as I do my shows this year.
Okay, so say somebody's listening later on down the road after this Kickstarter is successful and everything, and they're listening later. Then, what any secrets about those upcoming games you can share with us?
Yeah, one I've got almost completely done. It's called The Temple of Temperamental Evil. It's a play on the Temple of Elemental Evil, but in my book series, the temple is in my book series, and it's it's like the Temple of Elemental Evil, but it's my version with where all this twisted stuff happens, and it's really funny. But I wanted to build a game around it, and actually, I built the game 2 years ago, and it's a lot more in depth than my normal games. It's a very big D&D skirmish type game, but due to the cost of the molded figurines, I'm trying to figure out a way to get it out there, because it's a lot more expensive than the Game Room's Throne is, because of the miniatures that are with it. And then my other game that I'm working on, which I haven't got the artwork for it yet, but I got the mechanics figured out. It's called Peril at Purgewater, and it's a card game that it's a cooperative card game where you're all fighting monsters, and it's kind of like going through a dungeon, fighting monsters, and the characters you play, there's gonna be 4 fun characters again. It's gonna be for 2 to 4 players. They collect the dead monsters, turn them in for gold, and you get magical powers, magic items to help you along the way. And from what I've played with it so far, it's been really funny, because of course I'm going to have the comedy in it, and yeah, it's going really good. So that one I'm still working on. I've got some artists lined up. Who the artist who did the artwork for the Game Room's Throne is probably going to be doing most of the artwork for that game, and I'm very excited about that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love the art, and like I said, the game is looks really cool. Just the Game Room's Throne board game that'll be on Kickstarter. What, through the 7th of February, Friday the 7th of February? It looks like.
Yes,
Awesome. So yeah, anybody listening, make sure you go ahead and check it out and enter our giveaway over at thegiveawaygeek.com, or you can click on the link on the bottom of the show notes and back the Game Room's Throne board game so we can see this become a reality. But like I said, we don't want to keep you all night, Mick, but we appreciate you coming on, getting geeky with Game Relief with us to talk all about a fantasy board game with the comedic twist where everybody's business is, where your business is everybody else's business. We really appreciate it, Mick.
that's right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Now let's go see what is being given away over at, you guessed it, the giveawaygeek.com, shall we? Yes, we shall. We've got quite a lot of giveaways going on. Our current giveaways are these. First off, you don't want to miss the Star Realms Deluxe Nova Collection giveaway from White Wizard Games that ends on the 28th of January. Then we've got Temporal Odyssey from Solus Game Studios. This, you can get a free print and play of his game, and this giveaway ends the 31st of January. Then one I'm really excited about, I've teamed up with the Unfiltered Gamer, as well as a cardboard stacker. Plus, I now run and operate Everything Board Games. Well, the four of us have teamed up to bring you, or one lucky listener, Return to Dark Tower from Restoration Games that's on Kickstarter. This giveaway will go through the 3rd of February. Then you don't want to miss our giveaway with Forbidden Games for Dungeon Party. This goes through the 5th of February, and this one just launched today. It's a worldwide giveaway for Gabe Barrett from the Board Game Design Labs Dungeon Ball that's on Kickstarter. This giveaway will go through the 6th of February. And last but not least, the game we just talked with Mick about, the Game Room's Throne board game giveaway from Mick McArt. The game where everyone's business, or your business, is everyone else's business. And remember, just by entering, you can get your name in the game book. So go ahead and enter that, and remember that this ends the 7th of February. Don't miss any of our giveaways by subscribing to our RSS feed over at thegiveawaygeek.com. If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.